Sure y'all can hear me. Make sure y'all can hear me. Mike good, Mike good. Friday, everybody. Friday, everybody. Hopefully everybody is having a great week, purposeful week, a meaningful week, getting stuff done, not getting caught up out of these distractions that the world is going through. It is the third day in a row. We're doing our AM meditation. Now we're doing it. Needed video yesterday where we were looking at some homes in Miami, some condos, and in between we had about maybe like a half an hour. So I was like, all right, let me try to maximize my time. And I did a video and I'm walking around and I started to do a little bit of research before the video. Just when I say research, I mean I looked on Chat GPT and I was asking about, are there any white papers on the impacts of meditation? And to my surprise, because I was actually expecting there to not be many. I consider most white papers just things that big pharma pays for in order to justify, um, or in order to, I guess, get doctors to go along with their product and sell it to the people, right? Or give it to the people, however. So I was looking at all the benefits of meditation. It stabilizes us emotionally, it reduces stress, reduces anxiety. It actually helps with focus. So I was thinking about how this relates to a lot of the people that we put our trust in our entire lives, whether it's teachers, whether it's doctors, whether it's politicians. When we talk about all these issues that we have specifically related to teachers and then doctors, they'll prescribe us Adderall. They'll tell us that we have ADHD. They'll tell us that, or doctors can look at, the mental health aspect and how that's completely gotten out of control. And nobody recommends meditation. And here's the one thing with no harmful side effects, only positive side effects, that does all of these things. It regulates your emotions. It allows you to concentrate, focus more. It allows you to not be as reactionary. So when something happens to us, a lot of people may be getting ready to or driving to work. We know how that response can be, and we know how that road rage can turn and escalate into something far more serious. And it's like, why aren't people recommending meditation? So that's kind of the reason behind all this, because you just kind of, or I just got into the position, and maybe a lot of y'all have, where you're looking around at what's going on and you almost feel helpless. I saw Big Bro Finn put up a quote yesterday, or I saw it yesterday, and it was talking about, we put such an emphasis on changing the world, but the real change comes, as we all know, or a lot of us know, within ourselves. That's the only thing that we can really control. We can influence other areas, absolutely, but perhaps the best way to influence those other areas are to become the change that we want to see in the rest of the world and just live that out to the fullest. So that's where some of the frustration came. And then I was going back and forth on even doing a bunch of the live shows, which it's funny. Like today, I was like, yeah, we should just do the meditation, take a break, and 8 o'clock, come back, do our typical live show. Yeah, that's kind of just being transparent with y'all. Those were the thoughts. So I don't know. Let's focus on the main thing. Let's keep the main thing right now. Let's get into this meditation. So we're going to meditate for about 20 minutes. So we'll be here until about 7:30. We're going to go through a semi-guided meditation, if you want to call it that, but really just you taking time to give yourself what you need. Whether you're in a space where you can close your eyes and completely disconnect from society, disconnect from the world, or if you're in the car driving, obviously you're not going to close your eyes, but just taking some time to maybe have some conversations with yourself, have some conversations with some some relatives, whether living in this particular world or not. I don't know about y'all. I don't think that's weird, but a lot of times I have conversations with my grandparents. What would they say if I asked this question and it ends up being an entire conversation? Whatever it is that you need. I don't want to push anything on you, but just taking some time to be as still as we can, and to remind ourselves that our life is ultimately based on the decisions that we make and how we respond to whatever circumstance that we're in. So, y'all know what we set out to do every week, which is to make this current week our greatest week ever. So maybe those are some of the things that will cross your mind and you can build on. So let's first and foremost start off with, as we always, some positive quotes from our big bro Finn. Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life. Ooh, I like that. Count each day as a separate life. That means that there should be a certain level of excitement waking up every day. Where it doesn't matter what happened yesterday, we get the opportunity to play a new game. It's almost like that, like whatever, however you want to look at it, you get the opportunity for a new journey. The energy of the mind is the essence of life. Aristotle. I love that. All right, so Big Bro Finn said, yeah, definitely need a live show later. Yeah, that's been calling me too. So let's we'll get into this and then we'll figure that out as well. I done picked out some topics and everything. But first and foremost, let's get into the meditation. Like I said, give yourself whatever it is that you need. If you like, you want to start off with some breathing, some deep breathing, whatever it may be. But let's always concentrate on every breath that we take in. See it as almost inhaling a superpower, or maybe just a calming power, whatever it may be, to regulate your system. But positive energy, empowering energy, and limitless energy. And then every exhale, get rid of whatever is not serving you. So, how's it going? Um, we need a balance of Fuentes screaming, LOL. Yeah, we all need a balance, man. Everything's, sometimes different things serve different purposes. So it's good to have this balance with y'all. So let's get into it. I'm going to turn this music up. And of course, I'll chime in from time to time, but we'll be here until about 7:30 or right after 7. So let's get into it. Something I haven't spent too much time on, especially gratitude, having grace. Or actually, I think we mentioned it yesterday, but just reminding ourselves, even when we put in the pressure of what I said earlier about making this our greatest week ever, that can put a lot of pressure on us. Sometimes we got to give ourselves some grace. And I think that'll allow us some much needed space just within our own lives to relieve some of that pressure. That's what it's saying. Pressure can be good, but Sometimes we got to recognize that we get that. Sometimes that we just believe it. Don't get too overwhelmed or each their own. Making a couple suggestions for mainly speaking to myself. Don't get too overwhelmed with time to stay or just giving yourself some break and being mind of I'm not even aware of that. You know what's funny? Um, like I said, a lot of these are just conversations that I'm having myself and challenges. But we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to attain certain things, meet the goals, right? And absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. We should have respect for purpose. However, when we think back, this is a question that I've asked you all. When you think back to some of your most amazing experiments, greatest times, happiest times, most fulfilling times, based on accomplishing goal, trophy, of course that's part of it. But my question is more so the actual experience, the journey going through whatever it is, or maybe just respected comments and family, or disconnected. Think back to some of the most amazing lean into that energy, that. We're gonna go through 4 cycles, our box breathing, the same, pretty much the same energy. We'll extend it a little bit. I feel like I already extended beyond the 4 seconds. But we'll do 6 seconds, 6 second inhale, we'll hold for 6 seconds, release for 6 seconds. We're not gonna hold it for any more than about 2 seconds. We're gonna get right back into that inhale. Try that out. So we're gonna begin with 6 second inhale. Ready? Hold. Release. 6 seconds. All right. Get right back into that inhale, 6 second inhale. Ready? Breathe. Hold. All right, cycle to that inhale, inhaling positive energy. Ready? Begin. Hold. Release. Again to our last set. Additional with this inhale. Hold. Release. Hold it out. Maybe one of the things we can ask ourselves is how often do we choose to be optimistic rather than pessimistic? Often we choose to be optimistic rather than pessimistic. And it's almost like that's not the perspective control us and create these toxic environments. Inhaling that energy and putting it out. How do we choose to be optimistic but realistic? Realistically optimistic, especially when it comes to the reality of the life that we're setting for ourselves based on how our thoughts, how we program our subconscious. We're being pessimistic with our thoughts that we think our actual lives are going to change. So it's just another example of us being able to control the things that are within our control. And very hard. It's a big challenge for me at times. And life is amazing, right? So there's always going to be a certain level, or I shouldn't say always, but a lot of times there will be a certain level of skepticism where we think that it's just us being real and observing reality. Perhaps it's time for us to make a shift in a lot of that. What other option do we have? If we get away from that standpoint and the distractions, toxic culture, all these different influences, they want it. The only way for us to change brainwash ourselves, right? We're receiving so much negative brainwashing to control us in ways that may not be as beneficial for us. Perhaps we cannot brainwash ourselves, just reprogram ourselves. And just have more positive thoughts about ourselves so therefore those thoughts will shape reality.
You know what? One of the things that always comes up is curiosity. And I think we mentioned yesterday, we talked yesterday about how when we're young kids, we just see the world in a different way. We use our imagination in a different way. We dream, we believe. But then as we get older, we tend to dim that light and dim that superpower of using our imagination. And maybe this is the case for you, maybe it's not. But when you think back to when you were a child, think about how curious you were and just overall excited about life. And when I say excited about life, not excited about, oh, all the things I can accomplish in life, like literally excited about, walking around and seeing a new animal, and you just, concentrating and just looking at that squirrel out the window and how it's behaving, whatever it may be. We're just curious. We're just genuinely excited. We wake up and excited about things that maybe as adults we would see as small things. But maybe it's time for us to figure out a way to get back to that velocity and excitement. Just almost serve as protection against all the other distractions. We're so excited to consume, or I shouldn't say excited, we're so indoctrinated to yearn to consume the same information over and over from the same people over and over that are telling us about all the problems, but we just can't get enough of it. But we're rarely curious about life and nature, about things like meditation and things that we would be excited about, because as kids we would daydream and our minds would take us different places just based on a simple things that we may have had or seeing something. So just something to think about. Maybe that's the case for you, maybe it's not. All right, so we're gonna finish out soon, similar to how we did yesterday. And we're gonna go through the same box breathing technique that we just did, maybe around the same time, 5 or 6 seconds. We're gonna cycle through. And just like yesterday, this time concentrate on taking very deep, powerful breaths, even exhaling in a deep, powerful way, really getting that negative energy out, feeling the negative energy. And on the inhale, of course, feeling the limitless energy that we have, that we're breathing into, breathing childhood life, breathing that childhood feel that we used to get, and we're just excited about simple things that we thought was things that really, well, I don't know about y'all, but would make me happy. 5 or 6 second inhale, followed by 5, 6 second hold, 5, 6 second exhale, and then we'll get right back into that inhale. But we keep breathing from our gut at the inhale, exhale through our mouth, very intentional. All right, so let's begin with an inhale. Hold. Release. Cycle to the inhale. Hold. Release the negative energy. Into that inhale. Hold. Release. Cycle right into this last inhale. Inhale positive energy. Hold. Keep holding when we're getting ready to release the remaining bit of whatever negative holding us back type energy there is left. Get rid of it. Seconds, take a couple breaths. And if your eyes were closed, you can open them on your own time. On your own time. Let me turn this screen. All right. Yeah, it's funny, a lot of the meditations when we finish up, I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. Feeling good. It's Friday. Let's make sure that we have an amazing day. Let's make sure that we're choosing. Let's make sure that we are choosing. And I don't want to urge you one way or another. Well, I don't want to tell you, give you directions, but I definitely will urge you. I challenge you about that, to be more optimistic. And as I'm challenging you all, y'all know that these are just the internal challenges that I'm giving myself. So let's be more optimistic. Let's give ourselves and our loved ones, it's a big one, give our loved ones a bit more grace. We may be going through things and thinking that everyone in our family should be aware of it, or our loved ones should be aware of it, and they should prioritize it. But we got to be big boys and big girls and make sure that we're handling a lot of that on our own, if we have the tools to do so. Nothing wrong with getting support from others, and we should get the support. But like I said earlier, if meditation is one of those things that's going to help regulate my emotions, help me respond better to situations, help me see more of the light in the world and be more optimistic and reduce some of my stress and anxiety, and that's a responsibility, an obligation that I have to do so. So on that note, I'll see y'all in about 30 minutes. We're going live for a live show. I'll see y'all in a few, man. Let's see what we finish off with. So many first times to look forward to. I really like that, by the way. I really like that. So many first times to look forward to. That's how we should approach every day. That's how we should approach every day. Big Bro Finn said that people who are trying to make this world worse aren't taking a day off. Why should I? Bob Marley. I'll see y'all a couple minutes after 8. All right, have a good one.